Mirrors and Dreams, Book 2 of the Unseen Scar series, written and narrated by C.R. Saxon. Chapter 19. Evidence aside, I'm certain Ferdinan found the cure. But what does that ultimately mean? Thou mused over thoughts he'd been considering since the day Oya nearly killed him. She said find answers, not proof. I have the answers. If proof doesn't matter, then what does? Leaning back, Zhao thought out loud. Reasons? It's Ferdinan. The reasons are obvious. He can't stand watching people suffer. Wait. Haha, I'm really dense. Standing, he paced his lab. What Oya was pointing him toward. Something she could say, but I couldn't do anything unless I figured it out myself. To know how he's doing, understand him. His insane behavior, he's always been extreme, but since he got back, why hasn't anyone said anything? Guilt twisted his heart. It was his job as science lead. Ferdinan was his charge. But someone else noticed, right? There had to be more than him looking out for the Tinkerer. And the adults. Why weren't they doing anything? But refusing to eat, looking distraught, being unduly stressed, Ferdinan was always like that. Not once had Zhao seen him relax. The skeleton snuck around, hiding from everyone, and most people either didn't notice or didn't care. But even before leaving last block, Ferdinan was sick often enough Zhao wondered if he had something terminal. The ocean view from his lab's window was pleasant, but couldn't distract Zhao's thoughts over Ferdinand's recent behavior. Nightmares that woke his charge up screaming, strange tics, yelling in class. A beep interrupted his thoughts. Hoping it'd be work from home, he checked. But it was only a message from his sweet mate. Dinner with the girls? He's getting mean. Who knew what his island brother was putting them up to? But he didn't want to deal with another argument. After sending a confirmation message to Herard, Zhao returned to his thoughts. If I figured out the blight and engineered a cure, how would I feel? Hopefully giving his tongue rein would bring light to what was on his mind. It'd feel amazing. Here I thwarted some horrible person. I stopped whatever they were planning. It'd be amazing. My head would swell knowing I'd saved humanity. Who gets a chance to do something like that? I'd be a hero. I'd live it up at the parties. Huh, my family would be so proud. A deep ache stabbed through his chest. My family, I miss them. Even if I saved the world, I'd only have my mom. Knowing I failed my family? Would I really be happy? Could I have fun knowing I wasn't fast enough to save them? Would it be like now, only I'm a hero who failed to save those I love? Pacing, Zhao lapped his lap again, taking in everything he plastered to the walls. Photos, mementos from old trips, awards, letters from home. This was his lab. But I'm not the hero. Ferdinan is. Taking a deep breath, Zhao pictured the setting. Alone in a lab, working endlessly, exhausted beyond hope, hearing constant reports of how many died, and the plague spreading farther and farther, with no one to turn to for help. How many tries till something worked? How long did he look before he found a cure? In the end, he won. Picking up a screen, Zhao looked it over and put it back down. Yeah, winning didn't matter. Millions are dead, and he can't bring them back. Is his bizarre behavior because he's blaming himself? Zhao's heart raced. Like I blame him? What would Ferdinan do to come to terms with this? What would he do if he couldn't? Another lap around the room passed. I need to know more. I need to talk this over with someone I trust. No, someone Ferdinan trusts. I hear you're catching up and keeping top marks. Tenalia smiled. Is this sustainable? Yes, Aunt Tenalia. After so long doing nothing, it's fun. Zephyr smiled back. My schedule's painfully light. Hopefully I'll get my platoon back after catching up. We'll see how you're doing then. Yes, ma'am. She doesn't want that? I'll be ready for regular training over break. Tenalia shook her head. We'll see. I don't want you getting sick again. I don't like being still. Without my platoon, trainee, or the classes I teach, I don't have enough to do. Good. Her eyebrow lifted, but she grinned. Captain Rhetoric will assess you over break. If he approves, I won't object. Thank you. Relief lightened his soul. Just don't lock me in my room if he doesn't. Yes. Tenalia's tone betrayed nothing. Brightening, she changed topics, telling him of his mother's trip to her home country. She'll be extra loving when I get home. 5 golden fingers tapped his heart. Indeed. Tenalia looked away as the conversation lulled. Anyway, Zephyr trailed off, not sure what to say. How about my assignment? Huh? Concerning Ferdinan. Worry filled Tenalia's face. I haven't found anything yet, but I'm still looking. Zephyr lied. No more putting it off. I'll make sure it stops. Morning dawned and jumped to noon. John nearly gave up getting the skeleton's heart moving. The rest of the time was watching his ally's agony. He didn't leave Ferdinand's side once. Just spent those hours watching, crying. I can't do this. Would Mom travel here, or Ozar or Samuel if Mom can't? Though his tears dried up, he still needed someone to talk to, someone he wholly trusted. But everything about this was improper. He couldn't burden his friends and island family. The adults, he couldn't risk Ferdinand being sent home. His family were the only ones he could talk to about this, but not over a screen, not within earshot of anyone. Are Oya and my family the only ones invested in him? This realization stabbed deep. Yes, Ferdinand pushed everyone away, but how many tried getting close enough for him not to? Only Oya has. Wait, why hasn't she appeared? John stopped himself there. Oya could take care of Oya. She was fine. Thinking this was rude, he was taught better. But he had too many things to deal with already. Ferdinand? The gent's eyes weren't open, but the tinkerer's face was scrunched up tight. Talk to me. My throat. Ferdinand laid still, assessing his body. Though physically exhausted, he wasn't sleepy. His muscles burned, but they weren't screaming to move. Aches, twitches, jolts of electricity, every pain felt magnified. But the fog holding his brain hostage had dissipated. The detox worked, but it didn't kill me. Water. He'd never felt this thirsty before. Stinging needles bore into his side and arm. John? Consciousness faded in and out as his heart raced and his body moved. Where is he taking me? His ally laid him on the soft sleeping sack in the back of his closet. Then a metallic disc was on his chest, blinking. No, don't do this. His hand twitched but wouldn't move. Why am I so weak? Red and yellow lights flashed. Oh yeah, the detox. Without a word, John left, only to return with water. The skeleton drank greedily. Ferdinand, enough. Lowering the disc but clutching it tightly, John continued. This has to stop. Talk to me. Bitter ice splashed around inside him. Why didn't I realize he'd find me? How impaired was my mind? It'll stop. Delusional child. That response startled John. What do we need to do? We don't have to do anything. Then what do I have to do? There's nothing you can do. But Ferdinand had to say something to appease his ally. What you've been doing. What part? Covering when you're too sick to go to class or teach? Lying to Healer Bear and the superintendent for you? Shielding you so you can digress in the shadows? Bitterness filled John's voice. What part am I supposed to keep doing? Feeding me. So you can keep fighting me? Bile and frustration shook the thinker. What does the disc say? I'm sorry. This was never your burden. You were supposed to enjoy school for 14 years, return home and be coddled for another 10. Ferdinand spoke as if dreaming, rambling off the future he'd stolen from his ally. Get married off to a wonderful woman, start your own giant family. You were supposed to have a lifetime of bliss. John's jaw dropped and his eyebrows knit together. And you? What does a murderer deserve? I was never part of the equation. Then you were trapped with me and too stubborn to choose happiness. Blue crystals drifted close. How long would I sleep if I just gave in? A warmth he hadn't felt in some time washed over him. Oya's histories. You still can, John. You can still enjoy a paradisical life. You deserve happiness too, John started, but wasn't sure where to go. Open sincerity from Ferdinand rarely happened. How naive. Happiness? I've had more than I deserve. Evelyn's unconditional love, Oya's silliness, all the people foolish enough to help him. I've hurt them all. I'm so tired. Ferdinand felt his brain deteriorate as he sat there. But John was right. This had to end.